Welcome back to Step by Step and to my channel. I'm Lavon and we are on part 2 of this transformation from China closet into baby girl closet. So I saw an idea on Pinterest and my cabinet is a lot different, but I like the idea. And the last picture is where we left off, and now I am adding some soft pink onto the pink champagne. So I put 2 coats on the areas that had it before, but I did go ahead and complete coat 1 on the rest of the piece. I'm kind of jumping around on this piece, and I'm just doing it as the design strikes me, I guess. That's kind of a habit of mine. I'll do the fancy parts first. So right now I'm just adding some soft pink to blend into the pink champagne on the storefront. I love all the detail, and I'm just kind of going over the raised areas. I'm using Dixie Belle's premium chip brush, and I'm using a mister, and I'm using the same brush to blend in just because the colors are so similar, and just kind of spreading that paint around a little bit. It's super easy to blend 2 very similar colors together. And I continue to put it around the frame and the bottom portion of the drawer as well. Just kind of missing everything because I'm working on the piece after the paint has dried. So the water helps reactivate it so that we can blend it together. Such beautiful colors, aren't they? So if you are interested in Dixie Belle paint, there'll be a link in the description box. So right now I am using Dixie Belle's Muscadine Wine, and I am painting over the high points, over the flourishes, on the details on the storefront. Just going over those high points, and I'm just doing this section. I'm going to use a mister bottle again, and this time I'm going to use more of a neutral brush, in other words, one that doesn't have paint on it. And I'm using Dixie Belle's oval medium brush. Just kind of blending that paint a little bit into the other paint, into the other color. And I really like the color that it ends up being. It's sort of a mulberry color, and ironically that's the name of the transfer, or rather the decoupage paper in the top of the cabinet. Now I'm using Dixie Belle's Kudzu, and that's my favorite green. I love the hardware on this piece. I love all the details on it. And again, I'm using the mister bottle and the neutral oval medium brush to blend it in. And I do get some of it on the pink, and I come back in with the pink, clean it up. It's no big deal. I love how it just lightens up that and just gives it a hint of green. So if you look above in the transfer on the window, you'll see that these colors are just kind of echoing those colors. So now I'm moving on to the side, and what I'm using here is a redesign with Prima stencil. It's a damask stencil. We're going to do a raised stencil. I'm using Dixie Belle's Peony, and I have added Sea Spray, which is a texture additive. I also added Hemway's glitter in white. Using a raised stencil on a piece is a great way to address any texture issues you have. I think this piece had gotten wet at some point in time, and the veneer on the side had bubbled a little bit. So rather than try to remove the veneer or fight with it in some way, we're just going to kind of add to it because it wasn't peeling at all. So we'll just add to the texture and disguise it. A little camouflage. So if you enjoy watching these videos, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell as well. Because if you, for instance, this is going to be a 3-part series because I did not get it all done. spoiler alert. Hit the notifications bell so you won't miss anything. I'm putting my mask up because I'm working in the store and we get a customer. And as you'll notice on the front of the piece, there's a little sign. It says, "Pardon me while I change into something more beautiful, and I don't mind if you watch." So I'm not ignoring my customer. Nikki's filming for me, so we are talking to our customer. These masks, right? So you just work on the piece as if you were plastering a wall. It's a little time consuming, more so I would say than painting, but the extra effort is well worth it. I'm doing that whole section just so you see the reveal. I could cut through it, but I kind of want you to see just how long it takes to finish this section that I'm working on. I probably could use a larger spatula, but I'm content doing what I'm doing. The mixture is just pure peony color, and then I just added the sea spray and the glitter, and it got kind of thick at that point, like almost like a dough. So I used the mister bottle and just kind of sprayed it and then stirred it until it was more like creamy peanut butter. Notice how my descriptions of consistency all relate to food. Now getting close to the finish line here. And just a reminder, when you do the portion below, you want to make sure that you let that dry, because otherwise you'll mush what you already have there. Also, when you clean this off, you're going to want to lay it down on paper or something and then spray it with your mister bottle and wipe it off with a paper towel. You want to clean it mostly that way because you don't want to rinse this in your sink and have this excess go down your drain. Just as it hardens on the piece, it will harden in your drain as well. I don't think your plumber, well actually he'll be happy because he's getting paid, but you won't be happy because you won't be paying for her. That has sort of a border on it, so that's why I'm not worried about getting extra paint on there. And I positioned it where the seam is as well. And still pay getting customers. Almost ready for the big reveal here. Okay, I have the stencil covered, and then I'm just going to go back over everything just quickly and just make sure it's kind of smooth. Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth because after all, we are adding texture here. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Just lift the stencil up gently. Boom. There it is. Off the top, it's a little bit, there's a little extra material. It just kind of moved around a little bit, and that's okay. When it's dry, we'll come back in with the sandpaper. So now I am doing a little bit of striping, and again, there was texture from the bubbling from the water damage before. So what I'm doing here is I took and I taped off the piece, and I'm just painting. I'm using Dixie Belle's Moonshine Metallics in Rosé. And I'm just kind of stippling the paint on. I'm using a rather large brush. I'm using a round brush. Just pouncing the paint on. I did add a little texture additive, the sea spray, to the rosé. Sounds like a cocktail, right? Sea spray, rosé. And I'm going to use the mister bottle and just kind of blend in a little bit so that this is a real fade into the pink champagne color. Just working that color together so it almost disappears into the other color. Just touching up a few spots that I missed. And again, it's time for the big reveal. Let's peel that tape. Looking good. I'm going to have to come back in and do just a little bit of touch-up. Back around to that front door and just carrying that Moonshine Metallics with the texture additive, the sea spray, around the front. Again, there was a little bit of that damage on the front, so we're disguising the bubbles by adding more texture. I did not go crazy with this because I wanted it to still be shiny. So just added a little bit of the sea spray, and I think it's just enough to do the job. Also, applying it in that stippling motion will help with that texture too. little bit of an orangey pink, and the other ones are more of a pink. But I think that the soft pink is going to be the unifying factor. We're going to use that around the whole frame, around the bottom, around that piece that separates the top from the bottom, and that is going to be what unifies the very cool shade of the beanie color with the very warm rosé shade. After all, it's all pink, so we're going to make it work together. We're pulling out all the stops on this piece. I did work on this for quite a few minutes, but I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. Sometimes I must admit I kind of hurry things along because I'm impatient. I just want to see it done, and also because, time is money. But when you're creative, when you have a creative business, that sometimes you just go all out for certain pieces, and this is one of them. I just feel like this is one of those pieces that will sell because it's so specific. And it's also difficult sometimes to present your work in the middle of it. I don't really like my clients to see my pieces before they're done, because this is this part where you see it and you might not like what you see. But when it's done and you see the completed piece, that makes all the difference in the world. So I'm just kind of explaining to someone how I plan on framing it out. I can't wait until you see part 3 and see the completed piece. That's my sign language for that soft pink is going to tie it all together. It's even hard for me to watch back on video sometimes as I work on a piece. But I certainly know that I was happy with it when it was finished, so all this fussing pays off. So, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back next week to see the completion of the project. Meanwhile, visit us on LaVintageDecor.company, and on Instagram we're LaVintageDecor, and on Facebook LaVintageDecor Altoona. Stay well.